were doing. We then moved on from there. By next year, we had an executive order put in place for our African American Commission. And from then, we decided it needs to be even more permanent. And it moved into legislation and into law. And many, even in this room here, along with the Honorable Mel Hanna, came before the committee that at the time I was sitting on and testified about the importance of having Arizona at that time would have been the seventh state. To have taken 7 is a very unique number of completion. But that was the state. We were the 7th one to come in to have an African American Commission established. So here we are, 21 years later. This particular event is extremely special because it gives us a time to identify people in the community. And a lot of times folks will say, well, who is that? But the ones that are from these various pillars, our committee chairs that are here this evening, you'll hear from them. They will be presenting their honorees tonight. So you'll hear it from each of our pillar chairs. They've identified someone that really, really steps to the plate of what it truly means to be that unsung hero in that area. So we'll get a chance to hear that. And so this is something that is completely, we will always do this. And I know that there is it's a person sincerely that I am missing this evening because I have co-emceed with him for the last 21 years. And that is the Honorable Mel Hanna. And so for those of you in the room that may be saying, well, who was that? Especially maybe some of the young ones. You'll get a chance to learn a little bit more about him this evening. I'm glad to see you guys here tonight. Because we don't always have a lot of young faces in the audience. So we're really glad to see that. But he did. He stood here. He would always have a lot of jokes and things like that to tell. I really don't have a lot of jokes. I was the one that was, let's move this day forward. He would come forward and say, okay, everybody, we're going to relax and we're going to make it through. So there we go. But you'll hear more about him tonight and what an honorable individual that he was. So without any further ado, I would like for us to move on for what we are all here for with the award ceremony. And then we'll talk even after that about what we have going on tomorrow. So I want to get started right now with the first pillar. I will call you up from the youth pillar, I believe, with that's going to be presenting, right?
Good evening. I'm Eric Kemp, one of the co-pillars for the youth pillar. And my co-chair is going to join me up here, Mr. DeLon Leggett. I haven't been involved in this program for a very long time, but I'm very honored to have been pulled into this by the Honorable Mel Hanna. So I'm going to do my very best to make him proud. But we have the distinct honor of presenting a young lady to you who is our youth unsung hero. So I believe you guys all have the program, and I'm going to read to you what we have here in this young lady. But I'm going to go ahead and ask her to go ahead and join me down here. So Solara, Gubara, please come down. So I am a high school principal. I've been a principal for 6 years, and obviously I have a network, and I was able to reach out to my network to find suitable youth. And when this, it wasn't, we got several names come to us, and we had to make a decision. But once I got a chance to look at this young lady's transcripts and receive the compliments and recommendations from her teachers and her principals, it became real obvious, and you understand as I read her biography here. Solara Gubara is one of 2 children, first generation born in the United States. Her parents came from Sudan in 2001. Her parents have raised Solara and her brother with strong Muslim values. Solara says, "My Muslim values have taught me to be open-minded and peaceful. Solara's values are shown in a way that she can understand and listen to others' needs with empathy, intelligence, and action. She acknowledges that there are others in her community that come from Sudan that need help with navigating their new place. Solara takes it upon herself to share what she has learned with her Sudan community. Solara does not stop with giving her energy to community affairs. She is near completing her 4th year of high school experience as a senior with a 4.7 weighted GPA. While maintaining her academic grades at a high standard, she also extends herself to excel in her nursing career technical education program and engages in co-curricular club activities, Science National Honor Society, Health Occupation Students of America, and College Prep Student Expedition Program. Solara's long-term academic goal is to achieve a PhD in molecular cell genetics or oncology. She has started the path to her future by making a difference with global matters by helping children with cancer in her community from Sudan to Arizona. I present to you the 2023 Unsung Hero Youth Pillar, Solara Gubara.
We got a picture.
Yep, gotta take a picture. Thank you so much and congratulations. My GPA didn't match that coming out of high school. That's amazing. We'll now go ahead and get started with our health pillar.